A very good morning to you now. Dave McCarthy sits opposite me. Dave, morning to you.
Good morning in this sunny Galway morning.
Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? Now, we're dealing with a very serious issue, and we're dealing extensively with it today. Those of you who find yourselves in financial difficulty, the personal insolvency bill, there's three aspects to it. There's personal insolvency bill, there's the debt settlement agreement, and then thirdly, there's the personal insolvency arrangement. Take me through them slowly.
Okay, just the background to this is the bill has been published. You've probably seen a lot of press coverage over the last few weeks. It will become law towards the end of the year. And under the terms of the bill, there are three schemes that you can go in under. It depends on your circumstances, and I'll try and keep it as brief as possible.
No, not brief, it's just simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one.
Let's go on the personal insolvency.
First one is if you have unsecured debts less than €20,000, you can go to an authorised advisor under the Insolvency Service, which is likely to be MABS. You have to go through a process to prove your circumstances, and if certified by them, you're excluded from looking after your debts for a period of 5 years. And if at the end of that period your circumstances haven't changed, well then the debt will be written off. Now, it's not going to be as simple as that in practice, because you're going to have to prove that your situation. So it's not a question of just getting this certification and then walking away from your debts. Now, that's if you want to secure debts less than 20,000.
Can you take me through that then? Somebody who's under 20,000, currently they're getting calls, be it from whoever, financial institutions, whatever. Is the ESB covered in this?
It covers utilities and it covers lenders. It does.
So it covers all that. But what happens then to the people involved in this in that 5-year period? Do they continue to get power? Do they continue to get...
No, they're protected from their creditors, and at the end of that period of time, the amount is written off.
Okay, after 5 years?
Yes.
In the meantime, though, what do they do if they owe, say, 1,400 to the ESB, and they owe 2,000 to the credit union, and they owe another 2,000 to Bord Gosh or something? What happens then?
Well, once they have proven and get the certification, which is a legal document, then those debts are put on hold, and they will be written off by the holders of those debts at the end of the period.
Are they left cut off? Sorry, maybe it's not a fair question.
Well, ongoing bills you incur are totally outside of this. You're going to have to meet those.
A line drawn in the sand on this.
Now, just to explain to you, Keith, too, there are limitations in relation to your income. Under this particular element of the scheme, you can't have more than €60 a week disposable income. You can't really have any savings. You can't have a car worth more than €1,200. So it is quite stringent in terms of qualification.
I noticed too that during the 36-month period, if a debtor, which is the person in question, receives a gift or a payment of more than €500, then 50% of this must be shared with the creditor.
Correct. Actually, sorry, I said 5 years originally. This particular scheme is actually 3 years.
Okay. So it really is, it ties things down.
It does. It's very stringent. Okay. Now, the next scheme, which will be probably more likely there will be more people who will qualify under it, is if you have unsecured debts in excess of €20,000. Again, you have to go through a certification process. You have to appoint what's called a personal insolvency practitioner, and I'll come back to that later on, who's somebody who will oversee the process, and they will apply to this new insolvency service for certification again of your circumstances.
Okay, now have we moved on to debt settlement agreement?
Correct,
then?
yes.
Okay. So now we've left the one under 20,000.
This is the one over 20,000.
Now,
unsecured debt now we're talking about here.
Okay, what is the definition of unsecured debt?
You agree what you can afford to pay over a 5-year period in this case. And once that's certified and been agreed with the people the lenders that you owe money to, and you've met the commitment of the repayment amount that you can afford, at the end of the 5-year period, the balance of your debts are written off. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the third scheme, which is probably the one I think that far more people are going to...
Sorry, before we move away from that then, the debt settlement agreement, which is in excess of 20,000, would that include people in negative equity?
No, that'll apply now to the next scheme.
Okay, so who does this then apply to?
It applies to people who have unsecured debt in excess of 20,000.
And what is your definition of that again?
Well, overdrafts, term loans, credit cards, they could amount to they're considered unsecured debt outside of the family home.
And at the end of the 5-year period?
The amount, the balance of what you haven't paid off is written off.
And who takes the hit on that?
The hit are the lenders that have given that you
and
had.
What does that do to your credit rating?
Oh, well, that's something I'll come on to in a second when we just covered.
So the last one then is a personal insolvency arrangement, the PIA, suitable for secured and unsecured debt of up to 3 million.
Yeah, and I think this is the one that.
Why did they put a cap at 3 million?
Well, that was something that the banks actually wanted at 1.5 million. So it's actually supposed to cover, if you like, a wide range of people's circumstances, whether they have mortgages on their family home, buy-to-let mortgages or whatever.
Take me through this one.
Very simply, you agree an arrangement again for a period of 5 years, and it has to be agreed by a minimum 65% of the lenders involved. And again, it's very restrictive in terms of how you can operate during that period. And whatever is agreed, it could also involve the sale of assets. So if you have, say, an apartment somewhere else as an investment outside of your family home, that part of this agreement may be that might have to be sold, or you might have to agree a split mortgage or some interest only or something like that with the lender. Now, there is a condition on this, because this will always involve people who have property, that you must go through the mortgage arrears process with the bank prior to looking to avail of the personal insolvency bill. I've put up on our website, and I'll give you the details in a minute, a full document on this to explain it to people, because obviously on air there's only so much you can cover, and it is quite complex. But I would point to a couple of comments about the bill itself, Keith. First of all, it's a voluntary process. If the lenders don't want to enter this process, you can't force them. That's one of the drawbacks. And you've no appeal as an individual to the fact that a lender won't enter into the process.
Can the government not direct?
No, there's no appeals process.
So they could say no. They could say no to every application.
They could, but there is one reason why they may be encouraged to enter this process with an individual. The final option that somebody has is bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy law has also been revised as part of this, where you're discharged as a bankrupt now after 3 years instead of 12 years. So the prospect of somebody opting for bankruptcy and the amount that a bank will write off is far higher than if they engage maybe under the personal insolvency bill. The other thing too is that you may have, under some of these processes, and it hasn't been clarified, have to sell some personal assets, and that could involve things like jewellery, valuables like that. If you have valuable jewellery, maybe a valuable car, or possibly furniture, whatever else. And my worry about that is that this is a traumatic experience for anybody who opts to go in under it. And there's an element to taking away your dignity about something like that. But there's an awful lot that needs to be clarified, and that won't be apparent until the bill finally comes into law at the end of the year.
All right. Now, if they do want to get further details, go to your website,
If you go to our website, and it'll also be up on the Facebook page, the address for Galway Talks, if you don't have it, is financialconsultants.ie. Go in under the blog. There is a document in there that you can read, and it'll give you far more detail.
All right. Further details can be had from Dave McCarthy and Associates in Woodkey, 566-022. Dave, thanks indeed for joining us on this Thursday morning. Interesting and very, very simple to read and very simple to understand. If you're interested in it, give them a ring or just go onto their website.